Said that we were going to do the heavy because I didn't want to steal the tactical from some of my friends that were trying to work on the class. But that being said, they're all responsible adults and I'm staying up way too late, so we're going to take advantage of that and we're doing the assault today. So the assault, I think there is a very, very reasonable argument for this being possibly the best class in the game, at least speaking offensively. This class is going to set the team up to deal insane amounts of damage and is going to make some of the playthroughs on your ruthless and even lethal difficulties relatively easy, at least compared to what they could be. So we're just going to dive real quick into the ability, the perks that I use. We'll briefly cover some of the weapons. A lot of these are going to be repeats from some of the other classes, so we're just going to very, very briefly hit on them, spend a little bit more time on the newer ones, and then we're just going to bounce into a game real quick. So the ability for the tactical class, as you can see here, reveals enemies in a selected area and makes them more vulnerable. Essentially, you kind of set up like a sphere, and anything that's inside of that sphere that's been marked, it's going to take, I believe it's 50% more damage than what it normally would. And that being said, it is going to be able to be tweaked by some of the perks, so let's jump into them now. I'm going to show you what I run, and then there's a few that I think if you're just starting out with the class, they might be useful. So for our first perk, we're going to be running Balanced Distribution. This is going to give our primary weapon 10% more damage, but our secondary is going to do 10% less, which is honestly going to be fine because we're really only going to be using our secondary on this, maybe just to clean up a few kills here and there with some easy headshots. But due to some of the other perks on this class, our primary weapon's going to kind of be, don't want to say topped off, but we're at least going to be working with one magazine at pretty much all times. Our second perk then is Relentless Pursuit. So I love doing gun strikes in this game. They're a huge part of the game, especially on some of the higher difficulties. And with this perk, we're going to be able to do 25% more damage for 5 seconds after a gun strike. Finally, in the core perks, we're going to be using Emperor's Vengeance. So anytime we kill a Majoris or higher, we're going to restore our primary weapon's ammo magazines by 1. Of course, it can't go over the maximum allotted, and this does have a cooldown. It's a very generous 30 seconds. 30 seconds will go by rather quickly, so you will be able to kind of constantly add ammo to your magazine. Also, if you are running the grenade launcher, this will also refill that as well, and that's what makes this perk absolutely broken. Now, if you are kind of newer to this class, or maybe you don't have it up to level 25 yet, I would also say Final Shot is a perfectly acceptable perk. It will automatically reload your ranged weapon that you have equipped, so that could be your primary or your secondary. It'll automatically reload it as soon as you complete a finisher, and as you can see, there is no cooldown timer on this, so it's a nice little thing that you can do early on to take advantage of some of the executions and keep yourself topped up on ammo. You are going to be pulling out of your ammo pool though, so just be aware of that. Also, if you are going to be running the Plasma Incinerator, Plasma Boost is not a bad perk to have. Once you hit 50% of your charge, or before the weapon's going to overheat, I should say, you're going to get an increase of 30 damage. I would say that if you are running the Plasma Incinerator as like your primary for this class, it might be worth using over Balanced Distribution, just because that 30% can be huge. For our team perk, we're running Transhuman Physiology. That's just going to allow you to get back more contested health. This is huge, especially if you're running with another class that makes the contested health disappear more slowly, so you're going to have more of a chance to get more of that contested health back. It's huge, especially if you can't get in for an execution or anything like that. One of the other perks that I would say, well, the other two team perks aren't that bad. You do have Aligned Aim, which can give everyone a 5% range damage increase. It's small, but sometimes it can, make an enemy drop with one less bullet here and there. And also Communion of Fire. This was one that I ran very early on, just because some of the weapons in this game do have a little bit of a higher recoil. Once you get used to playing the game, that's going to be very easy to overcome. but this can be something that can help out newer players. In terms of the gear, we're going to use priority targeting. This is going to double the length of time for our Ausspec, taking it from 8 seconds to 16 seconds. However, it's going to ignore the Minoris level enemies, which to me isn't really a huge deal because they're going to be insanely easy to clean up anyways. And I'd rather just use this to focus on what are going to be the bigger threats, your Majoris and above. Next, we have Battle Focus, which will actually provide an Auspex mark for any time that you get a perfect parry, opening that enemy up to taking more damage, whether that's from ranged attacks or using your melee weapon. It's just a nice little perk that's easy to activate, and it's got huge payoff. Finally, Expert Timing. So this is actually going to, at least for this build here, drop it down from 16 to 12 seconds because we still get that 8-second boost off of priority targeting, so we will have it a little bit longer, but we're going to be able to do 100% additional damage to enemies that are marked. And again, for this build, that's going to be Majoris enemies and up. Now, you can also use close targeting, which is going to help, if you're having trouble with some of the smaller enemies, if this is like your first time playing the game, this might not be bad to use. However, once you get priority targeting, that's going to kind of make this perk null and void because you won't be able to, well, I shouldn't say it's going to make it null and void because this is whenever it goes down. But either way, Minoris enemies, once you kind of pick up the basics, they're not going to be an issue. But this can be something worthwhile very early on in that if you are kind of struggling with some of the mobs. In terms of signature perks, as an early perk, Signal Jammer isn't too bad if you're having a hard time closing the gap or being able to stop enemies from calling reinforcements. You can just pop your Auspecs and that'll cause them to cancel that call for reinforcements. However, one of, if not maybe the best perk in the game, has got to be Marked for Death. So this is going to allow a headshot to instant kill a Majoris or an Extremist level enemy. So if you have a Lictor that just pops up, you hit him with that Auspex and you just get one bolt pistol shot to his dome, he's out. And that can be huge. Of course, even if you get this perk off, you get that perfect headshot, enemies that are still marked are going to stay marked. So you will still be able to do a lot of damage to the other enemies that you can no longer get that one-shot instant kill on. But in terms of your perks, that's what I recommend. Like I said, we're going to very briefly touch on the weapons because a lot of these are going to be repeats. So for the melee, all you have is a chainsword. Nothing wrong with it. Fantastic melee option. Also, it's a chainsaw and a sword. What's not to love about it? You have the bolt pistol. It does the job just fine. It's not the fanciest thing out there, but it's going to put in work if you do. And here's the fun part. You have so many options when it comes to primaries. For starters, you do have the auto bolt rifle. As you can see, this is actually the only weapon that I have not gotten up to relic just yet. I'm working on that currently. That being said, to me, it just kind of feels like the standard assault rifle in most video games. It's really nothing to write home about, but it also gets the job done. I'm not blown away by it, but I also don't hate it. To me, it was just kind of mid, and that's why it's the last one that I'm working on. Then you have the bolt rifle here, which is essentially a pocket AC 130. So this one does suffer a little bit from some accuracy penalties. It's not the most accurate. It also does have a very slow rate of fire. However, certain variations of it do have the grenade launcher, which, like I said, that's, you're in Call of Duty, you just got that 11 kill streak, you're dropping an AC 130. And this will, like I said before, play off of Emperor's Vengeance, I believe is the name of the perk, and you can restore your grenades on it. You start off with a base of 9. Something to keep in mind, you cannot refill it off of the ammo crates. However, you can from ammo boxes and the loadout swap. But this is huge because that grenade launcher can deal some massive damage even on some of the higher difficulties, and it can make extremely light work out of extremist and even terminus level enemies. Next, we've got the heavy bolt rifle. I enjoy this. I don't think it's the greatest by any means. To me, it's just kind of fun to use. It is reasonably accurate. Also has a pretty good magazine to it. decent rate of fire. For me, this is just a fun gun to kind of hang in the background, almost use it as like a support weapon to just nail a lot of the mob enemies with headshots and quickly take them out of the fight. Does decent against Majoris and up, but there are better options. Again, I do have fun with this one. We've already talked about the Stalker Bolt Rifle. Does deal an incredible amount of damage, on single targets and that. For me, the only downside, once again, is the magazine size and the ammo reserve. Granted, there are better options for it. We're actually going to equip that, so if we ever do choose to use this gun again, we're going to be able to use the relic version. But yeah, nothing too terrible about it. Does do really well, though, against extremist and terminus level enemies. It can be really good for that. Next, the bolt carbine. Again, two different variations of this. You have the submachine version, which is relatively decent at taking out mobs. Very much meant for close quarters, and personally I do feel there are better options. If I'm running the bolt carbine, I'm going to run the other variant that switches it over to semi-auto. I just prefer it. Then you have the plasma incinerator, which is absolutely awesome because you can get some pretty nice area of effect damage with this weapon and its charge shots. It's really good at dealing with Minoris enemies, and the charge shot is also a nice way to take out the Majoris and above and to get damage on like Terminus level enemies. Very, very good pick to have for this class. Finally, you've got the Melter Rifle, which is literally just going to Avada Kedavra everything, within a couple feet of you. One thing I will say, though, is as you do kind of get up to some of the higher difficulties, again, we're mostly talking about Ruthless and Lethal. While this will still be good for the Minoris enemies, your Majoris and above, I do feel that sometimes it doesn't work the best on it, especially knowing that you do have limited ammo, not only in your magazine, but in reserve. So just kind of something to be aware of. Extremely fun weapon, though. But for today, it's talking about how broken it is. Let's go use it. We're going to bring out the bolt rifle with the grenade launcher here. So we are going to be running this on, substantial sounds fine. And we're going to run Reliquary. Just that way we can highlight some of the damage that this is capable of doing. And we're going to hope that we can spawn in with the tactical here. But this will also give you guys kind of an idea of what this class is capable in actual gameplay, not just in theory. Alrighty, and we were able to grab it, so we got the tactical, so let's go ahead and see what we can do with it. Yeah, feel free to let me know down in the comments, what are your thoughts on the tactical class? Do you like it? Do you hate it? What's maybe something you would improve? What's something you want to keep with it? But just let me know your thoughts. How does it rank up for you?
There! The heretics blasted an entrance to the compound!
That is one of my favorite things, actually, about this class is if we could just get him to hold still there for a little bit. But as long as you can hit them, you can take out those Tzeentch and that relatively easily on their hoverboards. Again, a lot of that's going to be up to you if you can hit them. They do kind of like to do their own thing here and there. And it looks like we did miss our Auspex there, but that's fine. We were able to get those cleanup kills relatively easily. So as you can see there, we were able to trigger our 1 perk, got some more weapon in our magazine, and also some more grenades.
I've observed your silence, Valius.
Strong. I would share my reflections, but I have observed you seem more comfortable in quiet. I try.
Noted.
So as you can see, we did have 8 there. We're gonna hit this up real quick. Oh, now we're at 11. Okay. It's odd because I just ran this mission not too long ago. This is actually my second recording of this. 9 felt like the cap that I was able to hit, so. But as you can see, just 2 grenades from that grenade launcher, that's going to be able to take out most of your Majoris level enemies. Sometimes 2 might just only knock them. It kind of depends on your accuracy with the grenade launcher.
Nothing, brother. The console holds no charge. We need a new power source.
Just do a quick little check. See if the gene seed spawn. It does not look like it did. And I will say, in terms of this mission, this little section here has easily got to be my least favorite.
I must have overlooked something.
And there you go. There's that 1-hit kill potential from the Auspex. Sorcerer did not stick around long. And let's hope we can get some decent RNG here.
Fusion core on this one is defunct.
I would say this is the reason this mission here, just not a huge fan of it. Kind of plays like a little bit of a fetch quest here early on. And unfortunately, a lot of times it is not going to be in your favor. But the last time I did this, I accidentally had it set to a private match, so I only had bots with me, and having other teammates here is definitely going to make it so much nicer.
I have sourced a replacement. It is working. Excellent work, brothers.
I think we'll actually drop the shock grenades for our teammates there. We'll grab the old melt-a-bomb as kind of a get-out-of-jail-free card in case we get too many people getting too close to us.
Minister.
Okay, so it actually looks like it might just be 2 grenades to get them knocked, regardless of how good of a shot you are with it. Pick up an easy execution here. Yep, refill our grenades. And as you can see there, the other perk that we had, the transhuman physiology, did kick in, allowed us to recover a fair bit of our health right there.
In turn, remain slumber in peaceful rest.
I am here, ready.
Insufficient grace. In death. Only in death. And in casket now. Records redacted by order of the Holy Inquisition. Resuming search. Only in death does a faithful servant find rest. Initializing scan. Nominal burial. No remains to be transferred. Proceeding on.
One thing I would say about this mission is I just wish that they would... I'm okay if they make it
To be
random,
remembered in death is the reward
but I
of a
at least
life
like it
well
if they
served.
had the little
Scanning sarcophagus.
servitor here. Kind of have like a more consistent pattern.
Exhumation and relocation may commence, Minister.
But either way, we did just get it right there. Maybe it's just power bitching. And I'll be honest, we completely did not intend to fire off a grenade right there. That's okay, because we're going to have some friends spawn in here real quick.
Rest well.
We'll be able to replenish that.
We will not be joining.
It looks like we had somebody pick up the gene seed. See if maybe we can get a servo skull here. Or I'm sorry, some armory data. That's what I meant to call the little skull, the servo skull. I called him a servitor. I believe they're two different things.
next encounter.
Airborne target on my Auspex. A Helldrake.
Weapons ready. Make for the breach.
Let the Helldrake beat its chest. We will bury it.
Balefire can penetrate Cerebrus. You avoid it. Imminent.
Improvise shelter. Get behind those rock piles. Brace for balefire.
Hostile flamer assault underway.
And as you can see there, you do not need an execution in that to get the grenades refueled. It's simply as long as you kill the Majoras. Or above.
Balefire barrage imminent.
It seeks to devastate the area.
So we do have another extremist on the field now.
Pyrogenic bombardment incoming.
It is on an attack vector.
The Helldrake readies an infernal blast. I am engulfed in flames.
Medical reply incoming.
Your battle awareness is impeccable, brother. How do you hone those instincts?
I reduce all unnecessary chatter.
Ah, understood. Expect some heat. You make a good team. Expect some heat.
Scorch assault! Get down! Burn free. Helldrake on approach!
It seeks to devastate the area.
Promise of righteous retribution. It is on an attack vector. Improvise environmental heat shields. Enhanced tactic ready. Caution. Incendiary weapon.
draconic beast swoops at us. Bethows the ecclesiarchic cathedral.
Yes. Please perform cleansing rites.
Eagerly, we await this stratagem.
The other nice thing about having
Saint Lancaster.
actual human teammates is this boss battle should go insanely easy.
Sign appears upon the glass.
Mainly because, again,
Praise
the
be to
bots
the
will
Holy
not
Sire.
hit the
Interact
little
with
consoles to
corresponding
match
sigil
up
to perform
the
cleanse.
appropriate symbols there, so kind of means you're forced to do all that on your own.
Success.
And we will hit the loadout just so that we can ensure we're topped off on grenades, because that's probably going to be the most important thing.
The Helldrick.
Our quarry and our objective are within our grasp. To war, battle brothers!
Let us unleash Saint Lankai's wrath upon this warm blight.
Symbols.
So that means these next two will be over here.
Success. Saint Lankai has been invoked. Focus on the beast!
And there you go. That's the power there of your Auspex. So you can do absolutely monstrous damage with it. But thank you all for watching. Greatly appreciate you guys. And we'll catch you next time. And I promise for the next time we are going to do the heavy, the ultimate video game dad class. But be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that other happy little horse shit there if you made it this far. If you did, greatly appreciate you. And we will catch you next time.